So today we have with us Ankit Kansal, founder and MD of 360 Group, a real estate company diversified into real estate development, stress asset management, project revival consultancy, real estate consultancy, AIF, real estate franchisee management, and home loan services. The company started in 2014, and in almost 8 years, it has sold properties worth 30,500 crores and has offices in almost 42 cities. So, hi Ankit, welcome to the show. It is an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Deepika. Thanks for inviting me over here. And I'll be happy to use your platform to push information across to everybody from here.
Yes, yeah, same with us as well. We'll be happy. We are happy, in fact, to have you. Like the achievements and your journey has been quite fascinating. So, Ankit, like let's start from the beginning. So, you are an engineering dropout, and as previously
Yeah.
told in some of your articles, studies has not been a priority. So, you left Kanpur in 2001 and started your own company just at the age of 18. So, how did it all start?
Just a small rectification at age of 17 rather than 18. That's
Oh,
really where my
fantastic.
journey got started.
Okay.
So yes, I got enrolled into an engineering college. However, I was very keen to run my own business. And against the wishes of my parents, I went ahead, uh, decided to drop out of the engineering course where I was enrolled into and get into business straight away at the age of 17.
Mhm.
In a way, I spoke to one of my cousins who was based in Delhi at that time, and he was running
Mhm.
a buying agency business. And I left
Mhm.
Kanpur to come over to learn the tricks of the trade and then take it up from there. But that's how my really work journey got started.
Okay. So before 360 Realtors, which is obviously has become quite big, you started two more companies. So in between, while I was doing this research, so in 2008, you lost all your money which you had earned in these 7 years, and you also had debt on your head. So how did you rise up again, back again? What motivated you? And if I may ask, what was the amount of debt you had which you had to repay back?
Oh, all right. So yes, as I started my career around 2000, 2001, and
Mm-hmm.
then was doing fairly well. Literally, I was minting money for next 6, 7 years
Mm-hmm.
before I hit on to 2008, where Lehman crisis came through. And at that time, quite a few of my export buyers, because that was the business I was initially involved in, export and buying agency business.
Mm-hmm.
And three of my largest customers went bankrupt, one after another, which really implied that I had not just my debts on my head because those companies owed me a lot of money. I had goods ready to ship lying in my factory. And at the same time, loss of business opportunity, which was created over a period of so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And when this all came crashing down on me, I had approximately debt of 32 odd crores
Oh.
at that time, which I had to pay that off to banks and friends
Mm-hmm.
and family. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the tune of debt, which was way too big in those years in 2007 or 8, 8 and 9. And then, of course, there was no choice to give up. So the only choice I had is to fight it out, bring it back. And of course, I think um if you know that there's no other choice, then you definitely fight the circumstances. And I was able to do it the same at that time. And in a year's time, I was able to come out of the situation, got some help from family primarily to get rid of the initial debts which got accumulated and
Mm-hmm.
put my brain behind business once again.
Mm-hmm.
And being honest, in next 4 years, I was able to bring things back to not just where it left in 2009, or even better, by 2013, 14, I was doing much better than where I left it in 2009. So that's the whole bit. of
Oh,
it.
fantastic, fantastic. To rise up again and repay 32 crores is like it takes huge amount of guts and only probably few people can do it. So going forward in 2014, you started 360 Realtors. So what was the gap in the market which you noticed and that gave birth to your company, which obviously has become quite big now?
So I personally feel the main reason why we entered into, made an investment into a brokerage house called Honix Realtors, which used
Hmm.
to operate out of Noida.
Okay.
And we made kind of a small investment to see how the business goes and everything. However, we were not very happy the way Honix was running, and we took a decision of shutting that down. But then we were able to analyze the gap in the market very well, that there were no big organized player, organized national players in the distribution domain. And that's what really gave us the reason why we went all behind it. And fortunately, we were able to get that gap correctly. A process-driven organization which was there at a national level, and it became a synonymous brand now for everybody. While people were moving from Delhi to Bangalore to Bombay, they didn't need to find a local broker to help them. And that's where 360 really came in. They knew a company they can go up to and
Hmm.
get their real estate requirement sorted out. And that gap was covered up, and that's the reason why the business grew very, very quickly for us in the real estate domain, distribution domain.
Okay. So obviously, like along with 360, you added few more products. You founded an AIF, Alternate Investment Fund, to provide last mile funding and bulk buying services to distressed real estate projects. So please tell us a little more about this.
Yeah, so while our distribution business kept on going well, and I think we had really 100% year-on-year growth until 17, 18.
Mm-hmm.
We grew very rapidly. Every year we were doubling our turnover. And then, of course, business started becoming stable and easy and simple. And that's where I started looking again for a new challenge. And then the challenge we could find in the market was a lot of developers were not able to finish the project. They were delayed because of the cash flow issue or mismanagement or fails.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we came out with a thought process. Let's look at taking over those projects and revamping them. And that's where we got one of our organization 360 Accelerate into place.
Mm-hmm.
One space which was still clearly had a vacant area was there were no fund which were ready to invest into last mile funding. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason we went ahead with taking over, creating an AIF, which
Okay.
was funding projects on the last mile funding basis and
Okay.
finishing those projects off. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
joint venture between us and Driving Straits Capital. Driving Straits had a very, very wide experience because they were running a fund under name of Redford Capital, and they have invested in excess of 10,000 crores across India. So
Mm-hmm.
we got the expertise from them, we partnered with them, and definitely have been doing quite well for us now.
Okay, great, great. I mean, this is something quite new, and brokerage houses doing and venturing into other spaces is quite like interesting. Going forward, also you started a franchisee model called 360 Edge, for which you brought in Mr. Sahil Kapoor, who is ex-Remax. And so, what made you venture into this space? And you started in 2019 this venture, so this was a typical
That's
time.
correct.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, what
So
was
I think
the
it one of the biggest reason for us to get into franchisee was probably COVID. I would really say COVID is what really got our franchisee business up and running. Once we got the direct distribution business all well set up, we were looking at alternate revenue sources, alternate sales sources to be created. And franchisee for me came out as the very good, reasonable choice. When I met Sahil, he explained me the way we could go. And then Sahil came on board probably a month as soon as the COVID lockdown happened.
Hmm.
And also, the advantage we had was a lot of people from other industry were moving out. So the entire F&B industry, luxury sales had gone to zero. So there was a lot of talent from other industry which was ready to get into real estate, because at the end of the day, be COVID or no COVID, people needed housing. And that's the reason why franchisee business for us started at that time and had done reasonably well for us, and it's moving at the right pace right now for us.
Okay, great, great. Something quite interesting, and obviously 360 Edge actually it's doing quite well. So while I was going through your company profile, your company's motto is honesty, commitment, and reliability. So obviously our market is as such right now as well, even though we are seeing a shift. Right now also it's quite scattered. There are a lot of miscommitments happening from the builders side as well as the brokers side. So how do you manage the miscommitments which happen in case it is done by your sales guys?
See, I definitely see that's a big challenge in the market, and I'll be very honest and upfront about it. If not that, sales team down the line just to close a sale does not make miscommitments. That have happened in the past in our organization also. The only thing we can revolve it is we try and put a lot of checks and balances in place so that sales team is thoroughly checked with what commitments they have made. Even when certain commitments are made and not followed, I personally take information into the entire thing. And even if a single customer reaches out to me directly, I'll ensure that it's duly taken care of, and whatever commitment have been made by the organization are taken care of at our end. So I think having a transparent dialogue with our consumers, uh, ensuring that if somebody have been misguided or miscommitted, then we intervene and sort problems out of how we look at it.
Okay, great, great. Something which is quite the need of the hour. Another thing which I feel is like, for example, as a end user, after sales services are not there in many companies who are selling properties. Like, for example, एक बार बेच दिया, it's like काम खत्म. You don't have to approach the client again. They don't approach the client again after they have sold the property. So I feel for a brokerage company to have after sales services is very important. So what is your take on that?
I totally agree with you. I think, as you rightly said, the markets are shifting, business is shifting. And that's the reason why organizations like 360 have not just been able to do good, but keep on doing better, because we understand that customer service is the most fundamental part of the business today. Yes, you are absolutely correct. In most of the cases, once we have sold one property to the customer, he will not be your customer again. It's a rare thing that he'll be buying a second property. However, word of mouth really works. If we have a happy and satisfied customer, he's definitely put in a word to his friends and family and people across, which helps us to go organically grow our business. And those are certain aspects which most of the companies overlook, and they find it difficult and keep on shifting their business model from time to time. So I personally believe that customer servicing is very important. We ensure whatever we can do in terms of helping our customers take it things to the next level, we definitely do it.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So another problem which wanted to take your viewpoint on was like Delhi NCR, a lot of builders are going bankrupt currently. Like, was it really because of the land acquisition was given to them at a minimal rate, and or maybe because of some other reason, or how will things change in the future going forward?
Yeah, I think we have to probably divide the problem in different parts. There's a very, very different and uh, a similar straightforward problem that's with Noida
Yes.
or Greater Noida for that sake.
Yeah.
While NCR, if we talk about Delhi and Gurgaon, fairly the problem have been much lesser in Delhi and Gurgaon, reason being the land have to be fully paid or a joint venture was structured where there was no involvement of government or anything like that. So the defaults have been, I'm not saying that there have been no defaults by developers in Gurgaon, Noida, but they are much lesser as compared to Noida. Uh, while the bigger problem in Noida had been, while the land was allotted at 10%, most of the land did not get paid. And just in greed for more and more money, developers went berserk, taking over projects and diverting funds from one project to another. Of course, now with Noida and Greater Noida Authority being much more vigilant, not allotting plots at 10% for only those serious players who have the bandwidth to invest and make the projects completed are coming into play. Secondly, RERA is playing a very vital role, ensuring, monitoring that the money doesn't move from one project to another. And in the next few years, we should be being a much cleaner real estate industry going forward.
Great, great. So going forward, obviously, we would want things to improve, and hopefully they will improve now since RERA has come into place. Hopefully things will change. Also, like noticing in the Indian real estate market is like of late there has been a shift in the trend among buyers. Like that now they are preferring ready to move in projects as compared to the under constructed projects. So this indicates a lack of trust in the market by the buyer. So do you see this changing anytime soon in the future, maybe?
Yeah, so I think definitely there's a lack of trust in the consumer, and they're looking for ready to move in property because the smaller brands, there have been a lot of default by developers where they have not been able to deliver their commitments even for last 10 to 12 years. And people don't want to take a chance. They want to put their hard-earned money into something where they can get a house, they can fee it and buy it. And also there's a shift happening now where people just don't want to buy their dreams. They have been fooled enough by developers and they want to fee before they buy. For when they do take a ready to move in property, then definitely they know what they are getting. They are very well prepared for it. And I think that's really working in their favor. And I don't see that trend changing anytime soon now. I think
Okay.
we will definitely have this. In fact, in future to come, you will see ready to move in projects being launched by the developers. So
Okay.
where they'll finish the bill and then they'll launch the project. And that's exactly how it should have been, being honest about it. And
Okay.
I think that change will definitely come. It is going to go only more in that direction rather than taking it any way backwards.
Okay. So taking that forward, like obviously since the like a general investor invests because of the capital appreciation in a under constructed project. So how will that take into account in case builder comes up with a ready to move in project?
See, I think real estate has become a end use product more than an investment product. And a person who want to buy a house definitely want to buy a house to get a security and guarantee. Appreciation in real estate is going to be marginal year on year, and appreciation would go majorly into land primarily or plotting. For
Okay.
anybody who's looking for a house, be it a villa, be it an apartment, be it a floor, he would prefer to buy something which is ready to move in and not to really run behind that capital appreciation, but rather have a peace of mind of getting what he wants in life and have a secured environment for himself.
Definitely, definitely. So, another Ankit, since obviously your journey has been fascinating and something to look up to by many people who are looking to join the industry, any advice out to the entrepreneurs out there who want to join the industry?
Uh, Again, I think the only advice I could say over here is uh, be committed, be honest, and I think you will find your own way. A lot of people try to make shortcuts. There are really no shortcuts in life. You'll have to put in hard work. You'll have to put in effort. Everybody
Mhm.
sees that success, but nobody sees the commitment and effort which have been put behind that success. So I
Mhm.
think anybody who's putting in reasonable efforts uh, definitely will be able to make it big for himself. I do not think ever that we have done anything which is out of this world. Just doing those small things right itself make a good business. And I think I would expect the same others to do and get to a stage like this in life.
It's something actually quite nice to hear from a person who has made it so big. So quite humbling, in fact. So another quick piece of advice, like for example, if you put yourself into an average property investor's shoes, so what kind of properties and which locations you would invest your money in?
Very interesting question, and I think COVID have made something very, very remarkably different. If you are an investor, you should invest in land. And when I mean land, plotted development. Plotted development which are gated, which are secured, but land is only best way to make good money in Indian real estate. If you're looking at investing into flats, investing into villas, I don't feel that as a good investment proposition. Plotted developments are very good propositions. Second, upcoming location is something which you need to go behind. You cannot look at developed location and then expect a high return on your investment. And third, in terms of locality, second homes are really catching up for plotted developments around Goa, hill stations like Mussoorie, Dehradun, or places where new infrastructure is coming in, what should be. So if I try and summarize, uh, plotted development with upcoming infrastructure or in a second home environment is going to be a best investment at this moment.
Oh, wow, great. So, and another, like obviously you have been there in this market for the past 8 years now in real estate market. So, a lot of companies have started coming up and solving a particular problem in the past 2 years. So, any problem which you feel is still unsolved and needs to be like people out there needs to cater to that problem, maybe in real estate market.
Could you repeat, Deepika? I could hear you clearly. If you could just repeat your
So
question.
any problem which you feel in the market which still exists and it needs to be solved currently in Indian real estate market.
For Indian real estate, I think one of the only problems I feel is in the distribution market, there is still no entry barrier into distribution business. And that's where, without any proper education, understanding of the real estate, the people come into the business and then ethically, they're not very strong at times. They want to make quick buck and go behind things. And that's where the problems are. So if those entry barriers could be created, those challenges could be created by RERA, where people who come into business are trained on this person are there in the business. I think that can only make things better. And this is one challenge which I think needs to be taken care of near time.
Absolutely, quite rightly highlighted, Ankit. I mean, we also like obviously there are no barriers to entry into this business. So for many people, it's an attractive, lucrative source as well as to make money and make a career in. But then standards have to be set for that. I also feel that. So Ankit,
True.
thank you so much for the valuable insights. I know currently, obviously, you have so much work on your plate, but still you took out time and had this session. So thank you so much, Ankit, for the lovely inputs which you have given about the market, about 360, and we are looking forward to you and 360 grow much bigger. It's still big, but maybe much, much bigger.
Thanks, Deepika. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Ankit.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me over. Thank you. Bye-bye.